The movie Braveheart tells the story about how a common man named William Wallace leads Scotland to freedom from the English rule. At the end of the movie, Wallace has been betrayed to the English and sits in prison awaiting execution. The Princess of Wales, who wants to free him, comes to his cell. She asks if there's any way he could recant his rebellion to save his life. Submitting to the English king would spare him torture and death. Wallace sees clearly what is at stake, and he stands his ground without shame. The princess says, "I come to beg you to confess and to swear allegiance to the king so that he may show you mercy." Wallace says, "If I swear to him, all that I am is dead already." Weeping, the princess says, "You will die. It'll be awful." Wallace replies, "Every man dies. Not every man really lives." Wallace overcame betrayal. Have you ever been betrayed? Thursday before Easter, Jesus was betrayed. Judas got together with the chief priest and the officers of the temple guard, and he discussed how he might betray Jesus. The meeting ended with the priest counting out to Judas 30 pieces of silver. We call that blood money, the price of betrayal. From that moment, Judas watched for the perfect moment to betray Jesus. Jesus must have surprised Judas at the Passover meal as he identified his betrayer by dipping a piece of bread in the dish and giving it to him. As soon as Judas took the bread, Satan entered into him. Jesus said to him, "What you are about to do quickly." Judas went out into the night to finish what he had started. Soon the disciples are in the Garden of Gethsemane. As Christ prayed in great agony in his midnight hour, then it happened. Judas came into the garden guiding a detachment of soldiers. With him were officials from the chief priests and the Pharisees. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard." Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Rabbi," and he kissed him. The men seized Jesus and arrested him. Within seconds, everyone deserted Jesus and fled. Jesus was betrayed. Betrayed by the one closest to him. Betrayed by the one full of the devil. Betrayed by the one blinded by desire, ambition, and money. And the big question is, have you ever been betrayed? Betrayal is always an inside-out matter. Judas was the last guy you'd ever expected to betray Jesus. He was the treasurer. He was the one held in high esteem. He was the one respected. And usually those who betray us surprise us by their actions. The great preacher Joel Stowell said, "I'll never forget taking my first charge in ministry as a young pastor. In the state where I was pastoring, there was a man about 15 years older than I within the denomination who had a big growing church. He was the name to know. He was the name to drop. He was on all the big committees and he spoke at all the big conferences, and everyone always looked up to him. And I'll never forget my shock when I heard the news he had bailed out on his pastorate. He simply didn't show up one Sunday morning because he'd run off to Texas to live with a woman he'd been counseling. Betrayed his kids. Betrayed his wife. Betrayed his flock. Betrayed the name and the glory of Jesus Christ for the comfort of someone who satisfied his ego and brought him the pleasures he desired. Have you ever been betrayed? Jesus was betrayed, yet he had the ability to forgive those who betrayed him. And from the cross, Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing." Only Jesus can help you forgive those who have betrayed you. Dr. Jerry Root tells the story of a woman he met at the Vienna airport who was taking a survey for the airport. When she came to him, he asked her name. "Allegra," she replied. He found out that she was from Austria studying at the University of Vienna. He discovered her mom had abandoned the family to go to Canada with her lover. Her father's bitterness was toxic, and she felt abandoned by him as he drove people away from him. and she was alienated from her brother who attended the same university. Allegra told about a boyfriend who went to study art in Florence for 6 months. He asked her to wait for him, and she did so. And her boyfriend returned to inform her that he'd met somebody else better in Florence. Allegra felt betrayed by her mother, her father, her brother, and her boyfriend. And at that point, Dr. Root told her that he knew that she had a survey to fill out, but that he had been sent to tell her something. She wondered if he was a plant put there by the airport to see if she was doing her job. But he assured her that it was nothing like that, but that he had something to say to her once she had finished her survey questions. She rushed through the airport's survey and then put down her pen and looked at Dr. Root in the eye and asked, "What were you supposed to tell me?" Knowing that Allegra felt abandoned and betrayed, he said to her, "Allegra, the God of the universe knows you and he loves you. He would never abandon you. He would never forsake you." And he said it to her again the second time, "Allegra, he loves you." And he said it the third time, "Allegra, he loves you." And after the third time, she burst into loud sobs, and everyone in the gate area looked their direction. And through her tears, Allegra blurted out, "But I've done so many bad things in my life." Dr. Root replied, "Allegra, God knows all about it, and that's why he sent Jesus to die on the cross for all your sins and to bring you forgiveness and to bring you hope." Dr. Root explained the gospel to the one willing to hear with a heart willing to receive. The question is, have you ever been betrayed? Allow Jesus to heal you. He wants to save you. The one who was betrayed can give you his power to overcome betrayal. Let Jesus show you his love, and through Christ, you can experience a miracle today.